Greetings, one and all. How are you all doing? I am Natural Mystic. I am bouncing back. I hope you all are too. Welcome, 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 welcome to another live session. And I seem to be coming up with some content because life around me is just a reflection, a review, and then I would like to come with some form of resolution. So no intros, no fancy, stuff. Just get straight into this video, straight into this recording. So finances, 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 finances. Money mules is what I'm talking. Now, for me, there's a reason why I'm talking about this. Bouncing back was actually started as a budgeting and bartering kind of project because I found myself wanting to support my friends and family in regards to their businesses. But for me, wasn't always easy, just purely because I didn't always have the readies, the money available. So that was the front door in case anybody heard that. That was the post. I won't be going to see whether it is, no matter how much curiosity will get the better of me. This is real life, real life. So yes, money mule. So of late, a few friends or associates, contacts on various platforms that I'm on have shown considerable amounts of money in their bank accounts. And being the type of person that I am, I kind of got a bit curious. I'm like, oh, I could do with a little injection of cash for business purposes, fix my car, for example, or to just clear one of the larger debts that I've got where I'm paying off little bit by little, and maybe I can just clear it all in one go, like I said, with a large injection, a large sum of cash. So I kind of have been curious, and I thought to myself, what does these whole transfers that I keep seeing on on Insta and Snapchat, what does it all entail? What happens? What do I need to do? I asked a few questions without being, overly nosy, and explaining to the person that was, in my DMs, basically, how concerned I was, how it would affect me going forward on my relationship with banks or finances. And the reason why I say this, living in the UK, the financial parties and credit agencies and the banks, they look at fraud very, very seriously in this country, okay? Albeit, as they call it, a white collar crime, or, something that's like, it's not like a common crime. It's not something that happens in regards to like abuse or theft or something like that. But it's theft in a completely different way. The levels in which they deal with fraud in this country are quite harsh, and rightly so. In some instances, I'm not supporting the big corporations that don't pay tax and all that stuff. I'm not going there. This is purely about us as the smaller people, and how our banking can be affected, or how our money and our futures and our goals and things can be affected. So growing up, my dad had his own business, and year after year after year, he would have to submit his taxes and things like that, and it would be a bit of a headache, and various other things that I saw that sort of regarding money. And I started working at a very early age myself, so I understood what it meant to go out and earn. And then I got involved with a group of people who did some things that weren't lawful. And it involved like car finance and banking details and all sorts of different things. And yeah, I've done my time. I was punished. It wasn't something that I wanted to do, but I did. I was part of a crew, like I said, and I found out, albeit, that I was actually quite good at doing certain things when I was younger. Because it was kind of like the in thing. It was new, like mobile phones had just come in. We stopped using the swipe machines for credit cards. Things became more automated. There wasn't as much security in regards to your banking details, like the postal service. Like, there were just so many different ways in which you could find yourself with or in possession of things that didn't belong to you but were very useful. So that's why I became curious about this whole, bank transfers, and how these people are getting money from somewhere and giving it to me. And I actually just thought, nah, do you know what? You've been there. You've kind of done that on a different level. You've been punished. So why would you want to get yourself back involved with something like that now? And I just, I didn't block anybody or anything like that. You know what I mean? I just left it. I didn't reply. I didn't respond. I'm not sending anybody any details. It just didn't sit right with me. So last year, something very similar happened. where I was messaged by what looked like a DM from a friend's account, and it was actually a clone account. So the messages that I kept on getting back every time I questioned the individual were very much automated, very bot-like, robot-like. There was no humanness in it. There was no conversation about, you know, the common things that we had or the similarities that we had that I was speaking about. It was very much just, yeah, send details, send details, send details, and we need this and we need that. So I'm not stupid enough to send details to something through my phone or give them to anybody, whether it be face to face, unless it's somebody in a position of authority that rightfully needs to know that information. And even then, they don't need PIN numbers and passwords, you know, bank details, sort codes, that sort of thing. We do share that. We do pass that on. We have business accounts if you have small businesses and that sort of thing. We have PayPal. There are lots of different ways in which we can acquire money into our bank accounts or our possession, and you know, and that sort of thing. So this is kind of a bit of a highlight, really, and a bit of awareness in regards to banking. Now, there's a digital footprint when it comes to our banking. It doesn't go away. It's a bit like a criminal record, where it can be dragged up, basically, because it's somewhere stored in a hard drive in someone's computer somewhere in a distant land in an archive file, but it's there. It doesn't disappear. Every transaction, every movement, everything has a special code, a sequence, a merchant number. It's trackable, it's traceable. So in regards to, like I said, these money mules, these people that promise you X amount of monies if you just send them certain details, what happens to the individual who receives the money, and then 3, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years later, you know, the finance company, the bank gets in touch with you and says, that transactions, or those few transactions over those period of months, they've come up as being fraudulent. They're very suspicious. We'd like to ask you some questions. Could you come into a local branch, or would you like to contact your local fraud squad? Or would you, in case, would you like to get in contact with the police, depending on the seriousness of the amounts and that sort of thing? Now, I've also declared bankruptcy. I got myself into a financial bind after being around this cruise, like literally just got myself into a right financial mess. And it has been like that for quite some time. I'm now just about getting my head above water. Been treading water for quite some time, but I'm now getting my head just above water in regards to seeing the shore. In regards to my debt and the way my finances are organized. I've been doing something, like I said, bouncing back budgeting and bartering for about 2 years now, where I'm really having a look at what I spend, where I spend it, why I spend it. And I've now changed my attitude towards money and finance. Money is a tool. So I now use money. I don't just spend money. And that's something that I'd like to get out there, may even put it on a t-shirt. So the penalties in what people will face after they go through these fraudulent transactions and have these sums of money. Some people are, "I'll dismiss it. I don't care. I'll just shut the bank account. I don't care about my credit rating. I don't ever want a mortgage. I don't ever want this. I don't ever want that." But there's a little grey mark, a little indicator that sits next to your name in the background. And every time you do things going forward, you wonder why they're not working out for you, whether it be housing, council tax, utility bills, mobile phones, for example. Like I said, real simple stuff that you think, why is it not as easy to just do things as it was 5 years ago, 3 months ago? Like I said, these little indicators sit next to your name, and these companies are aware that you're not so trustworthy, perhaps. You might not pay things back when you're asked to pay things back. You might take other people's money and think that there's no repercussions ever going to come to you. So I wish everybody well who is partaking in the money mules and saturating and taking money from people, credit companies, major corporations, and thinking that it's never going to come back to them. It may not come back to them because they always ask you to withdraw the money in cash and give it to them. However, you, the person with the bank account details, with the name and the address and the date of birth and the national insurance number and all of the things that it may potentially affect. How about even you consider this? You're going for an interview. And on the bottom of the application form, it says, we may have to do a credit search on you in order to make sure that you are who you say you are and that you're a trustworthy person. It's the job of your dreams. You now cannot apply for said position because you know you've been involved in fraudulent behavior. Speaking from experience here, okay? I'm keeping it real with you all. I no longer have credit cards. I no longer have subscriptions. These are through choice. I've decided that my finances and what I keep for myself in my savings and in what I invest in myself is a lot more important than subscriptions and paying for things that are not really entirely necessary, a necessity, in that sort of way. So I very much pick and choose what I spend my money on. Like I said, after declaring bankruptcy, it makes you look at life completely differently. It makes you readdress a lot of stuff. I wondered why my life was so hard for such a long time, and I didn't realize that my credit rating, my bankruptcy status, as well as my past in regards to my criminal history, was all playing a part in why I didn't feel like I was moving forward in life. So, just like I said, I would like you to all consider that yourself, your future, and your children going forward can all be affected by one stupid mistake in regards to fraud, especially in the UK. That is all it is that I'm saying. Jail time does not equate to the pound sterling, what has the Queen's head on it. It's almost like treason when you do fraud. That's how serious they look at it. And in some instances, treason is still associated with death, or being put to death. So, like I said, fraud in the UK is something that they take very, very seriously. My next video or my next recording may be a little bit about my bankruptcy and how I got from university to prison. I'm going to leave that there, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much indeed. Just be aware, just think twice, rethink, think again, think, step back. That's all it is that I'm asking you to do. It's just to make sure that before you give anybody any form of details about yourself, you are aware of the potential repercussions and consequences. I am Natural Mystic. I am bouncing back, budgeting, bartering, and becoming a better person daily. I hope you all are too. Much love, guidance, protection in abundance as always.